Doesn't work out with me and you. Maybe you can set me up with your dad.
That's like a classic masculine energy mistake that women make on dates.
Oh, one more C, bit of cleavage.
Bit of cleavage.
No cleavage.
You smell really nice.
Thank you. It's fake.
I was on Love Island 5 years ago, and I really feel like I've got the expertise to bring to the table.
Okay.
It is brilliant. Welcome back to Spirit on the Rocks with myself, Sami.
And I'm Zoe.
And I'm Sam.
And this is the podcast where we explore different alternative therapies and spiritualities with our resident skeptic, Sam. But as you'll see today, he's on my side of the couch.
Because this is all about Zoe.
It's all about
Why does this
Zoe.
podcast not revolve around me all the time? Why has it changed? I don't like this.
I knew you wouldn't.
It
but
actually
we had
feels
to.
like a bit more daunting on this side.
And the reason why Zoe sat on that side of the couch today is because today is all about finding love in this day and age. And Sam's married happily with his wife Kayla, and I've got my lovely fiance at home. And Zoe is still searching for love. Sorry, that sounded like a bit of a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's on the market.
Still on these cold streets, guys.
Sorry, dude. I didn't mean that.
Hey,
Me and
stop.
Sam are just both so happy.
And Zoe
is
still searching for love.
And
So
lonely.
we've even had to make a podcast and set her up on dates because she's still searching.
I'm sorry. I hope you get better. I didn't mean it like that. I meant you're the single one of us three, and we thought, why don't we help out and discuss, how to...
Now I need
I'm
help.
digging a hole here. So today, we're going to meet one of the UK's leading relationship and dating coaches, Kate Mansfield. And then me and Sam have found 2 eligible bachelors for you to go on a date with. How do you feel about all of this?
I mean, a free session with the UK's leading dating and relationship
Slay
expert.
Queen.
Like, I'm not going to turn that down.
I haven't dated for a long time. I don't know what the dating scene's like. Can you tell us what you think the dating scene's like nowadays?
I feel like for me, it's just like meeting people that I actually like have a vibe with, like being around single guys that are like within the age range that I want to date. I think that's the hardest thing. And actually, personally, I think I've just spent so much time focusing on work. I actually haven't even like really thought about dating too much. And now all of a sudden, I'm 33.
Do you have kind of, as you get older, do you have like a list of things that you want from someone, and then it's quite hard to find that, like, or are you quite open-minded to what that is? Because I know a lot of people, my friends that are single, they might have a particular idea of who they want to be with, and they might be narrowing their opportunities for love.
Yeah, I hear a lot of that conversation happening, but no, I don't. I think what I'm looking for is pretty simple.
What is that?
Somebody who's kind, somebody who's funny, somebody who wants the same things out of their future that I do. I want someone who's a bit driven, a bit ambitious. Like, that's like the basic fundamentals. I feel like everything else, like the fluffy additional cherry on the top.
And also thinking about your day energetically, we both have recently got into a book called The Energy Codes. That's a really good book to
Yeah,
read if
you bought me
people
that
are
book.
interested in spirituality. Energetically, I think you can kind of tell if someone's going to match you, if someone's high vibration or like low vibration. You can maybe feel their energy adjusting yours. Does that come into it at all for you?
In terms of energy on a day, it's just like if they make me feel safe.
Okay.
Like safe to be like myself. I feel comfortable. They're not like closed off. And then, yeah, open, I guess like not them, open-mindedness around the spirituality or like religious aspect. I don't want somebody, don't think I'd gel well with somebody who was like, that's a load of crap.
Okay. That's interesting. I like that. You don't mind me and Sam listening in on your dates, do you?
I don't think I've got a choice, have I?
Nah.
No, we're going to definitely be listening in. And look, it sounds actually you're quite clued up with, who you want, but I don't know if it's obviously haven't been working for you, no offense, like in maybe the last couple. And I do think having an expert
Exactly. I'm
Is
open to it.
could
I'm not
help.
going to say no. And then I've got you two. I mean, you two are in happy, successful relationships. So
This is true.
you're also potentially experts. There's free experts.
You literally have a great team behind you today.
What the hell? Everyone needs this. We should start a business, Sam.
So in this day and age, people are using dating apps, to meet their soulmate. And maybe we've lost a bit of human connection along the way. This is a blind date. How do you feel about that?
I'm excited.
You're excited?
Because I feel like people should be setting their single friends up on dates with people that they also know are single.
I hear that. I like that.
Like I've only all my exes I've met through people or at parties. I've never been in a relationship with anybody from a dating app. I dated one guy for like 3 months from a dating app, and let's just say that didn't go very well.
Okay.
How did you find these guys?
They're friends of ours that I thought were eligible for you.
Okay.
So I reckon we should get to it because I think Kate's waiting.
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, cool. Kate, welcome to Spirit on the Rocks.
Hi.
We're so happy to have you.
Happy to be here.
Kate is one of the leading UK dating experts and coaches, is that right?
Yeah, dating and relationships. Yeah,
Amazing.
That's my thing. At the core of my work is like, I believe we have so much love untapped inside of us that we can bring. And so it's really thinking about like, how do I create the kind of loving partnership and connection that I want to receive, right? Because when we give it, we receive it.
But today, me and Sam have both found Zoe someone who we think is an eligible partner or for a date.
Okay.
And this is kind of why we've got you here today, to kind of give
Yes.
Zoe some tips, give
Yes.
the listeners some tips on the current climate of dating and finding love in 2025. And if people like me and Sam who are in long-term relationships could get anything from this too, that would be great. But mostly we're here for Zoe to find love.
Sure, absolutely.
Sam's not in the hot seat today. I am.
No,
Zoe is-
but I will say I'm pretty qualified, like yourself, in the dating world. I was on Love Island 5 years ago, and I really feel like I've got the expertise to bring to the table.
Okay.
How did that work out?
Yeah, on the show, not well. So yeah.
So if someone was to get a love and relationship coach,
Yes.
how would that kick off? What would the process be?
For women, I have a very specific framework for dating, and it's focused around feminine energy, how to get really present, and how to kind of bring love and bring your emotional self and your vulnerability and your authenticity to your dates. There's a spiritual aspect to it, but it's actually very practical and it's very grounded in reality, and it's kind of a structure that you can, kind of memorize. So it's known as the 3 C's. So first of all, we've got connection, creating connection. We've got chemistry, and then we've got commitment. So most of my female clients ultimately who are dating are wanting a committed long-term relationship. So I'm assuming that's what you're after. Is that kind of where you're headed? Or
Yeah, that would
just
be
in terms
lovely.
of your vision?
Yeah.
Okay. So, in terms of what that looks like, we start out by thinking about how can we bring connection to the date? How can we create connection? Because men and women are different, and I do buy into the kind of concept of polarity, which is, masculine and feminine energy. I think that's really important today, especially. I think gender roles have got very blurred, and that's fine. But, in the workplace and out there in the world, absolutely agree women should be equal to men, should earn as much as men, all of that stuff. But I think the downside of that in the relationship space it's kind of created a lot of masculine energy in women and a lot of feminine energy in men, which can kind of upset things a little bit, I think, when it comes to love. That can get in the way of chemistry. It can create a lot of confusion between men and women. I think women end up very frustrated that men aren't leading and that men aren't kind of taking that leadership role in dating. But often women kind of get into that space and they create a kind of a block where they're sort of too quick, and then maybe they're chasing, or maybe they're directing things like they would, at work. So a lot of this 3 C's work is about really learning to stop doing and to start being, if that makes sense. And just kind of really slow down on your dates, create space, allow men time, really practice some active listening. So I think that's what I'd like to get into today with you. It's just some very simple techniques that you can practice on the date that are just quite subtle but very powerful, that I think you'll find easy to remember.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, let's do it.
So if we think about on a date, particularly a first date, how do we create chemistry and connection, right? As a woman,
I always thought that like that those things just would come naturally, and if they don't, then
well, not necessarily, and that's what's really fascinating. So I coach a lot of single men, and I have so many single male clients who are like really eligible, like really good looking, really successful in their career, and they go out on
does
dates.
that make them eligible though, just because they're good looking and successful?
Not necessarily, but
Helps.
you know, it helps.
It does
It does help,
It helps.
but like surely like eligibility is also like if you've got similar values, if like you've got
No, for sure, absolutely, and they are also kind of emotionally aware and quite emotionally, you know, available, ready for a relationship. So yeah, absolutely, that's what we're talking about in terms of the full package, you know. And those men often say to me that because they go out on dates with lots of women, and then they, you know, they may report back to me or to their coach. And one of the reasons I developed this 3Cs framework was because I had so many male clients saying like, I've just been out with this woman, and on paper she ticks all the boxes, but there's just no chemistry, and I don't get why, because she's quite attractive, you know, she's got like on paper all the things. I'm not feeling it, and then they'd start telling me about some of the things the women were doing, like there's a lot of kind of competitive energy, there was a lot of like interrupting, leading the conversation, trying to jump in and organize the next date. So it was those kinds of things, I think, for men that really can kill the chemistry. So for you today, we're going to avoid all of those things, first of all, and then I think what we want to bring in terms of learning how to create chemistry is allowing space for that to develop and asking the right questions and really listening. Because the other thing that men have fed back to me a lot is that they often don't feel seen or heard by women on dates, that like they feel like they're kind of a bit of a ticket to marriage, or like a bit of a kind of, you know, women are like come with their kind of, you know, their clipboard, and it's like an interview. And there isn't that emotional connection that men want. And I think we're fed a lot of stuff in our culture that men don't need that loving connection. They don't need that softness and that feminine energy. And I think they do.
I guess like how I interpreted some of that is that like women need to be a bit more passive, and like that isn't something that like I would want to do. And also like how like men also need to create a safe space for women, because some of the reasons why women do feel a certain way towards men is because of how badly some men have treated women historically.
Well, that's a great point. And I think, though, as women, we have to be really mindful that we learn how to kind of create that safety inside of ourselves, that we have appropriate boundaries that we bring to dates, and that we don't kind of drag all of this emotional baggage into our dating, because it may exist, and it's not to hide it or pretend it's not there. But I think, you know, absolutely, you're right. And this is why a lot of women are not very good at dating, because they're kind of bringing all of this emotional baggage and fear and kind of stories about men actually to the table. And sometimes that fear of being, I mean, you use the word passive. I wouldn't say it's as strong as being passive. I think it's just more about being in receiving energy and learning how to just give the man space and give the date space to breathe, and not kind of have to get in there and control everything. Because I think that controlling is often coming from anxiety, and it's coming from past stuff. It could even be coming from your childhood stuff. You know, for me, I've had a lot of childhood trauma that I've had to work through. So I think, again, just being mindful of, you know, these things and making a conscious decision before we go on the date. It's like almost visualizing a big rucksack. It's like, I'm leaving that at the door. I'm not bringing that into this space. And I'm just going to show up. And it is a safe space until it isn't, I think. That's kind of, we have to give men a little bit the benefit of the doubt. Obviously, you want to be careful, like meet a guy in a public place, speak to him a few times, you know, particularly if it's an online date, you don't know him, right? So it's cold. You want to take obviously sensible precautions. Do you know what I mean? Don't go and meet him in the park at 10 o'clock at night or something, you know, like we can be sensible about it. I think the truth is that most men are not dangerous, and most men are not out to hurt us. And, you know, it's very much the minority. And really, as women, it's our responsibility, you know, to take care of ourselves with boundaries. And we can do that.
If there's an awkward silence, if you're giving somebody space and you're receiving energy, I like to feel the silence. I'm not very good at with my partner, we're close friends, I am, but particularly with like strangers or people that are new, I'm not very good at sitting in silence. So if there was a silence, how would you react? And my my first thought is to ask a good question. So with what you've just said, is there any questions that aren't touching on competitiveness, that stay in playfulness, that are good questions that might get you closer to what you're looking for?
First of all, just to address the awkward silence thing, I think a big part of learning how to date and learning how to have a healthy relationship and a successful relationship is learning how to sit with those uncomfortable moments.
Okay.
We've got to learn that that's just a part of life. And I think we're so quick to like try and medicate ourselves or numb ourselves by jumping in or by, there's lots of other ways we can do that. So I think just to say that's a really important part of my process is learning to like try and bear it, even if it's hard, like to sit and just allow it to be a little bit awkward, because in that moment, you're receiving important information about the person. And I think a lot is communicated not verbally, right? Just body language, eye contact. Getting into your body is a huge part of shifting into your feminine energy. So, if you can learn to kind of shift into your body and start to almost intuit, how does it feel to be around this person? Is this my anxiety or is it their anxiety? Do I feel uncomfortable because I don't like their energy or there's something? Do you know what I mean? And just start to tap into asking yourself some of those questions and just sitting with it and just kind of trying to read the energy instead of like jumping in and getting into your head, if that makes sense. Create an experience for the other person.
Yeah.
That is
I've never thought of it like that.
That is a mixture of lighthearted and playful and deep and meaningful.
Yes.
So we want to kind of flip-flop between those two, right?
Okay.
We want to kind of go between. So, but this concept of like creating an experience for them is really, really key, because I think, again, it taps into this thing that's at the core of my work, which is, what am I bringing? Because I think one of the biggest mistakes we make about first dates and the way we approach it is like we have an hour with somebody and we make all these decisions about who this person is. But actually what we bring and the things we ask and our ability to be open or not and all of that stuff, our playfulness or not, will shape how we experience that person, right? It's a two-way thing. They're not a fixed person. People have certain characteristics and there are exceptions, right? Some people are just miserable fuckers, right? And just you could go on a date with them and you're like, oh my God, now I feel really miserable. So generally speaking though, I think, we're too quick to decide, do you know what I mean? And we're not understanding our own power in the dating process. So what I want you to do is like think about that before you're going in. Like, what am I bringing? What energy am I bringing?
Okay.
So I think a great opener when you arrive on the date is to make a funny comment. And I think sometimes about your
nice
about
shoes, dickhead.
No, just
Don't
about.
do
I
that.
think just about. I guess like maybe be light-hearted about the situation.
Yeah, exactly. Like make a joke about, oh my God, how awkward is this, or something, or like how you're feeling uncomfortable or awkward or anxious.
Yeah.
I think when we kind of offer that, you immediately bring the whole space into a vulnerable space that's also safe, that's also authentic.
That's nice.
So you're kind of setting the stage for the rest of the day immediately, and you're kind of saying without saying it, this is fine, like we can just be real. We're not here to be like, hi, how are you, kind of. So
I'm just
I
going to
think
take a mental note. So you remember icebreaker
Yeah.
by saying something about the situation that makes
Yeah,
it funny.
okay.
I like that. That's
so
good for the listener.
that immediately creates kind of connection and chemistry. And then I think, allow him to respond, so, or whatever. And then I think it's, it's good just to get into some general chit chat a little bit at the beginning, keep things light, maybe talk a bit about what you did last night, ask him how his weekend was, just kind of warming up conversation.
Okay. Yep.
That's a little bit filler conversation.
You like
but
that one, yeah?
we don't want to like jump straight into like, right now tell me about,
Yeah.
your last breakup or whatever.
Yeah, nice to meet you. How's your ex?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think she's crazy?
Do you think I'm crazy? Yeah. Like a really nice segue into slightly deeper conversation topics are questions like, tell me about like a book you've read recently that kind of was like life-changing to you in some way or inspirational.
That's a good one.
Or a
I'd
film.
feel like okay.
Something along those lines. It doesn't have to
Film,
sound like that.
TV.
Something that's maybe, authentic to you. Because I think then we're getting a bit more into kind of like who they are.
How about like what have you done recently that has been really fun? 'Cause I
Yeah,
don't know, like,
that's fine.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I guess take what like that question that you got to say and then just make it your own?
Make it your own, exactly. It doesn't have to be exactly those words. But,
Yeah,
you know,
imagine if I'm
along the lines of...
What is your favourite book? What was the best
reading it
TV
off your
show
hand or something, yeah.
you last watched?
No, exactly. But it's just getting to know the person, right?
Okay.
So you want to kind of understand a bit more about what inspires them, you know, any kind of questions about what inspires them, what lights them up, what they're excited about at the moment.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. What are you excited about at the moment?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry to jump in. I've just had a thought.
Yeah.
How do you feel about physical touch or greeting? Because I've spent a lot of time in my head going, I went to hug that person and they wanted to shake my hand, or you know, it's different with men
Yeah, because
and
I'm a very
women.
tactile person.
Yeah,
I
like,
actually have a tip for this.
go on. What's your tip?
Okay, so I say what I'm going to do.
Well, I'm
I
gonna
love
hug,
that.
I'm
So-
gonna hug
so-
you
I'm
now.
going to hug
It's-
you now.
I've never
Brilliant.
noticed that about you, but now I remember. I'm going to hug you now. I'm going to shake your hand.
No,
Yeah.
so if I meet someone, I go. So if it's the first time, I've done this like lots of dates in the past. If they come towards me, just so it just kills it all, I just like, let's have a hug.
That's brilliant.
Got nothing.
Yeah, that is good,
So no,
actually.
it's pre-warned. Let's have a hug.
let's have
Real
a
early.
snog.
Yeah.
Yeah, real early. Hey,
lips.
put your trousers down with me.
I think when things feel awkward, it's really good to name them and just like say it, because then again, that kind of creates like
That
a
vulnerability in it.
connection, right? Again.
Oh, that's the connection piece.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
yeah.
nice.
So it's
Yeah.
chemistry,
Yeah.
connection,
Connection leading to commitment.
and
Ultimately.
There we go. Are you ready, Zoe, for this? Oh, one more C, bit of cleavage. If you just
Bit of cleavage.
just-
No cleavage
She said how-
allowed.
she
the
said- We'll
hoodie's
know
a
how
bit
much-
baggy. I think we should just.
She said, we'll know how much we fancy the date by how low her
the zip
top
goes.
is.
Yeah. If I like
No, we're
really
gonna
fancy
keep-
them, it's gonna come
That's
down
the
a little
fourth
bit.
C.
And it's not,
It's the
'cause I'm
fourth
cold.
C. Add it to it.
No, they're going to keep the zip
But
up, I'm
the
afraid.
committed part. So yeah, so it's
Yeah.
the icebreaker. Then it's the general soft chit chat. The connection piece is if it feels a bit awkward, just to like name it.
Yeah.
And then
deeper conversations
Deeper
about what
conversations.
inspires you, what are you excited about at the moment.
and then the commitment
What-
part is that like
So-
Not necessarily on the first date, is it?
No. I mean, the commitment part is kind of where you're headed, right? But that you're committed to showing up fully, that you're committed to being open and vulnerable, that you're committed
Nice.
to the process, right? Obviously, we're not looking to nail somebody down and get married after a first date. That would be love bombing, and we don't want to get into that. So, you know, that's not what I'm saying. And also longer term, though, you know, if you're looking for a committed relationship, this is the right kind of approach to take on your dating journey, if that makes sense.
Sure. Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
You smell really nice.
Thank you. It's fake.
So we're listening to the date. They did your thing about let's have a hug. She did it.
How you feeling?
Yes. Fine. How are you?
I feel a bit awkward.
This is. Yeah. I've not had a date at 10:30 in the morning before, so.
On camera.
And definitely not on camera. So.
This is brilliant.
So tell me about yourself. Outside of the podcast.
Outside of the podcast, I don't like starting with work, but I feel like work is like a big part of my life.
Okay.
So I study human happiness.
Okay.
I'm a psychologist, and I make content to help other people understand their mind.
So that's interesting because he asked her, tell me something about yourself outside of the podcast, right? Trying to get to know her like outside of work. And then she went straight into, well, I think I'll start with work. And that's like a classic masculine energy mistake that women make on dates, right? Is that, like, to me, that's a little bit of a missed opportunity for some vulnerability and connection. Like, who are you really, like, outside of the podcast? And then she's gone straight into talking about her other work. So I think there's, just an interesting note there for her, like moving to the next date, to like be mindful of missing those opportunities to kind of go into a different space that's like, who are you really, without all of this kind of any masks, or like without your success or without what you do in the world. Like, what else do you bring? Because I think often men are looking for that from women. You know, like,
I can agree more. I think it could have been something like so random, like, you know what, I've just come back from this trip and I absolutely loved it.
yeah,
And then you can they can talk about travel, and
Yeah.
like that conversation can
Yeah.
start. But it obviously has gone down the corporate
I also
road
think,
again.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's because of Zoe's unique job of being a happiness consultant, and how much that it ties in maybe with her identity.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting and that's fair. But I think she could have actually led with happiness is really important to me without actually framing it as, well, because what she said was, I'm just going to tell you a bit about my work. So the word work as a frame, to me, I don't like.
I hate you, yeah.
So she could have used that, like, talked about what I'm really inspired by and like lit up by is just the concept of happiness, and then she could have sort of also as a side thing mentioned that, by the way, that is part of my work actually, but I'm aware that you asked me about myself, so I just want to share a bit more about why happiness is important to me.
Yeah,
And,
That's why they pay you the big bucks.
When you were younger, what did you ever have a job that you thought that you would go into, or a dream job that you wanted to go into?
I had no idea. All through university, I had no clue where I wanted to go.
So she's just asked him about when he was younger, which is quite a nice question, I think. But then she asked him again about work. So there's just way too much emphasis on work and keeping everything quite worky, which is often, I would say, a little bit of a defense mechanism that people use to kind of like, maybe a little bit of self-protection going on there.
Sounds like you've got a few good projects going on. You've got this podcast, you've got your happiness consulting.
Yeah, my walking club.
Your walking club. You're so busy.
Yeah, I'm very busy. I'm very busy. I think that's actually what's like stopped me in dating.
Oh, busy.
Unavailable.
Yeah, maybe.
She just said, I think maybe that every time she says work now, I hear the Kate Mansfield alarm bells go off in my head.
Get that axe out, chop that. No, I'm joking. But it is interesting, and just to pick up on what you said about unavailable, because I think, again, if a guy on a date says to a woman, you sound busy, I think as a woman, you've got to make sure that you make it clear that you are willing to make space for him, and that you're going to make space for dating, for connection, and that you do want a serious relationship. So to me, that's a perfect opportunity to state actually what you're looking for, and to say, well, yeah, sure, I am busy, but like I'm definitely wanting a real relationship, and I'm really committed to making space for that in my life. And actually, I'd be interested to know where are you at with that?
That's good.
And,
I like that.
That's a great way to find out how available they are, because that works both ways round. I think if a man says it also to a woman, it's your cue to kind of say, well, how busy are you? Like, do you have time?
If you could sum me up in a festival,
Sell it to me.
do you know Popcorn?
No.
Oh, headlining.
Yeah, I wanted to know your thoughts on sort of affection on the first date, and can a first date lead to a first kiss?
On the first date?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I do it every time.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it's kind of, to some extent, it's a personal choice. I mean, I would recommend to my female clients that they stay away from like any kind of physical contact on a first date, particularly with a stranger. I think there are slightly different rules depending on who the person is. So like, let's say you meet someone at work and you've known them for months, like as a work colleague, you've been around each other, there's like all this built up chemistry, for example, and then you go on a first date. Well, you might have a passionate snog, and that's probably okay because you know them. I think a cold date from online, like, maybe not. I think just always better to like just hold back a little bit, get to know someone, create a bit of mystique, I always say leave the date like early, leave them wanting more. Don't give them too much. That's going to often that will kind of kill the connection, I think, a little bit.
Yeah.
That's my view on it. I mean, there are exceptions. Like I said, if you've known someone for ages and there's like a lot of chemistry, you become friends and then you go on a date. That's quite different from, a blind date and then daytime or evening, for this scenario, like if they ended up snogging, I'd find that a bit much. I'd be like, so we maybe chill, a little bit,
yeah.
like just leave, save it for after the next date,
Yeah.
Easy wife, easy life.
Right, but I think also like this situation is good as a first date. I mean, I always say to my clients, like, never go for dinner on a first date if it's a cold date. like from online. I say like really, if it's blind or cold, you're kind of going on a pre-date to see if you actually want to go on a date. So like I wouldn't even really call this a date. I'd say this is like a pre-date to find out like
If they should
do
go
we
on a
want to
date.
go on a real date, and then go on a date that's like, I love art galleries for first dates. I think anywhere there's a focal point to kind of talk about the thing, so that it's not too intense.
No cinemas.
No, cinema's
Find it weird when people go
terrible.
to
I mean, you're
cinema.
just not going to talk, are you?
All
Just
you do is
watching
the
a
intro
movie.
and the outro, basically.
But I think eating is quite intimate and like,
Yeah.
then you're into that kind of whole thing of who's going to pay, and like all of the complication of that, which everyone has an opinion about. It's not right or wrong, but that just can create a lot of weirdness. So I think coffee, art gallery, crazy golf, walk in the park in the day, not at night.
I'm pretty like independent, I guess. Like I'm quite happy being single. I like enjoy my own time. I've got lots of friends, got a nice family, got like a career that keeps me really busy.
If we come back to this concept of like we want to create an experience for the other person, and I think we need to be really careful that like what we're saying isn't at odds with like what's happening. And for me, there's a little bit of a split there, because she's like, I'm super independent, I'm really busy, my life's totally full, my career's popping off, I am looking for a relationship, but anyway, and then like goes, and it's like you're not giving the person an experience of that there's any space. You're kind of telling them with words, but then like, so they're people feel, and they have a feeling experience on a date as well as like listening to the words. And I think that's where she needs to do a little bit of work around that.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks for the date.
Thank you. It's been lovely to meet you. No problem at all.
Nice to meet you. How did I do?
Really good. Really well done. So some great stuff around humour. I think you brought lots of humour, lots of fun, good energy. Definitely asked some deeper questions, but I think my feedback would be a couple of things. So I think, first of all, way too much talk about work. And he asked you a couple of personal questions and you kind of like deferred back to work again. So I think watch out for that in the second date. I think also in terms of that feminine energy, getting into your body, slowing down, allowing some silences, not filling the, conversation so quickly. And also, I think the other thing I would say is getting a bit braver with those deeper questions.
Okay.
Like drilling down even more into like, what did he like or not like about exes? Just asking some, bigger questions around that stuff, I think.
Okay.
All right.
I'll try it on the next one.
Okay.
Okay. Right. Wish me luck.
Good luck.
So how you doing?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm good. How you feeling?
Good.
Yeah?
Not too bad.
You nervous?
No, not really. Do I look nervous?
No.
Just feel a little bit awkward, you guys.
It is. It's quite an awkward start. Different from the last one.
It is, yeah. It is.
Maybe you can give me some tips.
What about being less organised?
Yeah, and then I can give you tips to be more organised.
I don't think I could give any tips how to be less organised. It's just the way I am.
It's mindset.
Yeah, mindset.
She just asked him to give him tips on how to be less organised, and he was like, "That's just my mindset."
So it's quite good. She's bringing humour again, which is nice.
She hasn't spoken about work yet.
Oh,
She hasn't
that's good,
mentioned
yeah.
work yet, so that's a good improvement.
I went to Tesco and I got ID'd for a Red Bull. So that is just
Red
taking
Bull?
absolute piss.
Do you have to be over a certain age to buy Red Bulls?
16. 16.
Oh, that freaks me
over
out that people think you're
16, so-
16.
I think, though, with humour, it's a fine line sometimes, right? I think we can get too bantery sometimes, and like that can also kill the chemistry and connection a little bit in that deeper sense. So I think women have to be careful, like not to use humour like as an avoidance tactic sometimes. Again, like as a bit of a mask to like keep things very light and surfacey as opposed to getting deeper. And he's quite a cheeky chappy, which we knew. So she's matching that energy, I think.
And they have to be in touch with their spiritual side.
Yeah, I hear you. That's a good one. I might actually take that one.
You're going to take it
For my
You're gonna
list,
rob it,
yeah.
It is a good one. It's important, I think.
Yeah, so again, like I think a bit of a missed opportunity maybe for her there around that spirituality, because like it's obviously a big part of like her happiness stuff. She could have come in with that maybe a bit, not from a work perspective, but just it's obviously something that's quite big for her. I don't know if she really took that. And it's interesting, isn't it, how often we're given these opportunities and we just miss them because we're in our head, like thinking about the next thing we're going to say. So I think definitely there's some need for her to like maybe learn and practice some more active listening skills, actually.
And that goes down to something we talk about a lot in this podcast, which is being present.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
being mindful.
exactly.
And trusting that your intuition is going to be able to flow with the next thing to say instead of having to plan it.
Yeah, exactly. And that you're responding to what's happening instead of trying to control it or trying to steer it or manage it in some way. I think a lot of that is anxiety based, you know. Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
So there's ways around that, like meditating before the date, dancing before the date. You know, the body stuff I think is really key to helping you with that presence and like really practicing listening. Listening is quite a hard skill, I think. Really listening, you know, takes a lot of patience.
What was that? I'm joking.
He had to sacrifice a lot to look after me and my sister.
Aww.
So, yeah.
Are you close with him?
Yeah. It wasn't so much growing up.
You're talking about some real shit right now, to be fair.
Yeah. He's gone in too, though. Fair enough.
Yeah, at least it's
It's equal.
evens. It's equal, yeah.
On the flip side of it, where I do advocate getting vulnerable, I think we have to be a little bit mindful as well about what we reveal on a first date. You know, particularly around childhood trauma, actually, because I think we can sometimes open ourselves up to people who might not be very safe, actually, around those things. And sometimes the wrong person can, not to scare people who are listening, but like the wrong person can jump on those things and like even unconsciously like stack that as information to use against us and stuff like that. So I think
Interesting.
I would stay away from childhood trauma on a first date, like as a topic, just generally speaking.
If it doesn't work out with me and you, maybe you can set me up with your dad.
Nah,
I'm joking.
I don't know about that one.
I'm joking.
Stepmom Zoe.
What a story. This is my stepmom. I've actually been on a date with her.
That would be a mad story. Cool.
What qualities do you like admire in your dad?
That's a good question.
What was that?
She said, what qualities do you admire in your dad? I think that's a good question.
nice.
She's on it, this one.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think overall she's doing much better with the questions, deeper questions.
Is that because
More revealing
she
questions.
likes him more because you're a great coach? Could it be both?
I actually used to pretend I had a sister. How weird is that?
Did your brother put on a wig or something?
So yeah, how do you think Zoe's done?
Yeah, I think overall, like, huge progress, actually. I think, you know, she's taken feedback really well. She's taken notes. She, you know, the second date more so. You know, I think for sure this stuff takes practice. You know, I think we have, like, we're wired into certain behaviours and patterns of behaviour and beliefs and stuff. And it takes a while to shift them. But I think actually Zoe's shown how quickly you can change, which is really lovely to see. And you know, it's one of the things I'm known for with my clients is like really helping them shift quite quickly, where like maybe traditional therapy doesn't work so fast. You know, like you can spend years talking about the problem, and I'm just much more practical. I think I like to give people actionable things that they can start doing now that like are going to make a really big change and give them a different outcome.
He likes to deal with things quickly. You
I
like
do.
Quick fixes, don't you?
I do like quick solutions.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks for this date.
It's okay. My pleasure. My pleasure. Next time, let's get a better setup. This crazy.
How did I do on this one?
Much better, actually. I just want to say massive well done for taking my notes. I think you went much deeper, for sure, much braver. I felt like maybe there was a bit more natural chemistry, actually, on this date. And you kind of, but yeah, just, I think overall much better. Like just, yeah, those deeper questions were great. A bit more vulnerable. Got more into like even some childhood stuff. I noticed like really showed who you were, showed some of your maybe just like shadow aspects a little bit, which I think, you know, is hard, but yeah, I think way better than the first one.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank
Good
you
work.
so much.
Good work.
So, Zoe, tell me, are you feeling hopeful with either of our dates? Any connections? Any vibes?
I had a nice time with both of them for different reasons.
Let's talk about date number one. His name was George.
Yeah, George.
Okay. How did that go?
He was really sweet. He made me feel very safe, very comfortable, was very familiar straight away. Not my usual type, but that's not a bad thing.
It's not great, the silence.
Yeah, the silence isn't great. What did,
to be honest.
what did Kate say
No, he
about...
was so lovely. He was a really nice guy.
Okay. Well, let me tell you my feedback. I was listening in. So was Sami, and so was
Yeah.
Kate. Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. Lovely guy. I think you dominated the conversation quite a lot.
Yeah.
You come across as the fun, cheeky chappy, and he was like the calm one. And
Say that.
that's where like the chemistry I felt like wasn't there. Although Kate did point out that you shouldn't really have too many cheeky chappies in a couple.
Yeah.
And she said that maybe George, actually someone a bit more calm could be good for you.
I can see that.
Yeah. Second date or just a mate?
Just a mate.
Kate gave you some feedback.
Yeah,
after
she did.
date number 1.
Yeah.
Could
was
you
that?
tell us what that was?
She said that I spoke about work too much, but his first question was, what do you do for work? And I actually don't like that as a question on a date.
Tell me about yourself.
No, he didn't. He said, what do you do?
Okay, let's rewind the tapes right now.
So tell me about yourself. Outside of the podcast.
Outside of the podcast, I don't like starting with work. So I just assumed that he was talking about work. But I think it's because work is like a big part of my life, which is
Yeah.
what she said to me. She was like, you spoke about work a lot, which shows that you just sound like you have no time.
You did say the words "I'm busy" a lot, which, you know, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but she said that it doesn't leave much space to show that you're available.
Work has been like filled in from like my relationships. I think it has become such a massive part of my life, but I don't think I need to talk about it and tell people I'm busy. I'm so busy on a date.
I'm busy.
I'm so busy.
I'm a
if you're
busy
actually really
bee.
lucky to even be sat here with me because I'm so busy, like that sounds so twatty.
It didn't come across like that though from listening in. It just
Sam,
No.
do you-
There's something to be-
No, it didn't come across.
it's something
I
to
get
be
it.
aware of.
Yeah, and it's something to be aware of. And you can just reword it. And it sounds like on the second date, you did take that into consideration.
Yeah, I thought about that a lot.
So let's hear about date number 2.
So date number 2, I think I thought about that more as an actual date and that I was finding out information about somebody to see if I wanted to go on another date with them. I feel like the first date was more like just conversation. I just was thinking of it as like a nice conversation.
Is
So I
that
think-
because of the coaching, or is that because you felt differently about him, or is that because you took into account what Kate had said?
I think it's because like I'm generally quite a friendly person, so whenever I meet somebody, I automatically go into that mode that I did on the first date with George, and then actually like then I had to kind of, when Kate spoke to me about those things, I kind of reminded myself that like, no, you're on a date to find out if you want to date this person, not if you just like they're nice to chat to. So I think I went in with that mindset of like, I want to see if I would want to actually date this person. And then that's where it felt more natural for me to like ask questions about his family and his past relationships and what he's looking for.
It did get a bit deeper.
It did get a lot deeper.
Which did that feel natural? Did you get better vibes when you dug deeper?
Yeah, because I feel like at first there were a couple of things that he'd said that I automatically felt quite a big sense of judgment on. And I think when I usually date, at that point, I like switch out. I switch off. I'm like, no, not into you. And I don't really give people a chance. Then I was thinking about the questions that Kate was asking. And I was like, nope, okay, like actually try and find out some of these things about somebody. So then I was asking him about like what he values in his dad, because he was talking about his dad. And then when I was drilling down about his like past relationships and how come him and his girlfriend broke up before, what he's looking for in the future, and then like drilling down a little bit more once he'd given me those answers, then I like saw a bit of a different side to him, and then I didn't feel as judgy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like the coaching can put a bit of pressure on you, but as you've just said before, the coaching also allowed you to maybe get past some things that he said that might usually put you off.
Yeah.
But it then allowed you to bring out some qualities that turn you on.
Yes.
And, you know, that's something that you can obviously then bring into future dates. And because at the end of the day, not everybody's going to be perfect. And we don't need to have this big checklist because you're never going to tick all of them.
Yeah.
And I think being more open is definitely a better way, or give people a better chance to find love, because it does take time. It takes effort.
Yeah.
So date number 2, just a mate or another date?
Just a mate.
Another mate. God, we're rubbish at this.
Yeah.
Man, our business
We picked
is
2
folded.
mates.
Yeah.
You
Man.
did pick 2 nice guys though.
Thanks. Shout out George and shout out Remy. Brilliant
Yeah,
guys.
they were lovely. And I feel like whoever they go on to date and get into a relationship with will be very, very lucky people.
I actually dated this girl once, right? And her past 5 like relationships or seeing each other, and I was one of them, their next partner then went on to marry that partner. So she was like the black widow of love. Like she'd date them, and then their next one would.
I've heard about this like concept.
That's rough.
So if them 2 go on to then find their love, you could be the black widow.
That's not good.
No, it's
I
not
don't
good.
want to be the Black Widow.
No, you don't want to be a black widow. No, but
You
I don't know.
presented that in a way that I thought was going to end on a crescendo of good things for Zoe.
No,
Yeah.
okay, hang on, I got it. Because spiritually, you have a lot of love to give. Does that bring it back?
No, I
No.
do, but I want to give that to one person, my partner. I don't want to then just be giving that out to people so they can go and get married. I mean, I hope they do get married and live very happy lives. But I also,
Yeah, but you are happiness.
yeah, but I want that for me.
Yeah, you're going to get it.
Yeah, you're definitely.
Does the
gonna get
Black Widow ever get it?
Oh,
Does
yeah.
the Black Widow ever get it?
Oh, she gets it.
Does she get it?
Yeah, man.
At what point?
I think that girl's married now, so.
Okay, right,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. What did you learn about yourself today that you'll bring into your next dates?
I liked the steps that she set up around like, do like the fun little icebreaker, then move into just something quite casual around like what they've been up to in the last week or what they've been up to on the weekend, and then move into trying to find something interesting about them and what they find interesting, and then to move into the committed part around their relationships. Like I found that guide like quite useful because I don't think about anything before I go on a date. I don't think about prepping anything. I don't think about prepping questions. I literally turn up and I'm like, blah, 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 probably like I did with George. And just, I don't think about it. And then at the end, I'm like, was there a vibe or was there not? So I think the way that I then thought about the second date and those steps, I think will be really useful because I'm going to take that into my next date. I've actually got another date on Tuesday.
Oh,
To be continued.
Yeah, TBC.
So I'm going to use those steps.
TBC, the CCC.
TBC. I'm going to use those steps, and then I feel like that would just give me a bit of a guiding point.
Would you recommend it?
Absolutely, because I feel like I learned so much from her.
Yeah, I learned a lot
And like,
from
do you
being
know what I mean?
there.
Like, I see myself as quite confident. Like, I feel like I'm quite clued up in like self-help wellness space. However, I learned quite a lot of useful tips. And I don't think I wouldn't have thought about it like that if I hadn't have spoken to her. So I absolutely think it's worth it. I think it'd also be really good for people who are maybe slightly more introverted.
Yeah.
Because like, I'm quite fortunate that I'm confident and like extroverted. So I think that, and I even found it useful. But I think if you're quite introverted, then I think like it would actually just give you this like sense of confidence.
What I'm getting from today is we should be setting up our single mates on blind dates instead of them using dating apps.
100%.
Do you think it's still possible to find connection and love in this day and age?
Yes, because I feel like taking my personal experience, I feel like I'm maybe just looking at dating a bit differently. And before I've been like, you don't really need to like think of a strategy. Just like if you meet someone, you meet somebody. But maybe nowadays you do need a bit more of a strategy.
Because you're in the hot seat today, Zoe, I was wondering if you could read us a poem about your experience.
Roses are red, violets are blue. Will I pick date number 1 or number 2?
Oh.
They were blind dates, so I had no clue. But did either of them make me woo? Now, which one's the keeper? You can decide. Are either of them down for the ride? Will we ever go on another date, or will they just become my mates? Anyway, here's the hoping. And if you're funny, sexy, and single and hearing this, my DMs are open.
Ollie, Ollie, Ollie.
That was great.
That was really good.
If did you just make a call to action for any single men?
Yeah.
So I'd love to hear some of our audience's dating stories, and if there's any eligible bachelors out there for my mate Zoe. So you can find us on Instagram at @spiritontheRocks_.
And you can contact us by email. And if you are looking for a dating coach, I think you should definitely go for it. Any challenges you have, if you want to improve your relationship even, then you can get in touch with our girl Kate. Her name is Kate Mansfield and her website is katemansfield.com.
Thanks so much for tuning to Spirit on the Rocks.
Thank you guys. We'll see you in a couple
Thank
weeks. See you on
you.
the field.